I feel like the build of these sneakers are similar to, like the build, not the look, to a Yeezy. Did this all kind of come in the same wave? Or
We launched before Yeezy.
Okay.
But you know what? I think what I will confidently say, and I just know this because of all of our friends in the industry.
I don't mean to disrespect you at all.
No, you shouldn't. I'll take it as an opportunity to say I think a lot of people actually paid attention to York when we launched. Like we launched, Bodega carried our sneakers, Hypebeast wrote about us. We launched in this space in this time when this just wasn't really happening. And very soon after that, like
They were spying on you.
Logos stopped dropping off the side of things. I mean, a huge catalyst in like how we got funding in the brand even was we're like, look at the market. This is messed up. Like you cannot buy a performance sneaker without 3 bold stripes on the side or a giant swoosh. Like the branding and the logo is always popping off. Like that's
I feel you.
the key, element. We're like, we just want it to be sophisticated, minimal, understated. Like every other aspect of my life and my wardrobe is like that, but I cannot find gym sneakers. So the fact that they're crossing over for people now is like, because that's all people were wearing for lifestyle. And then they were literally have to take those shoes off and put on something ugly and like uncomfortable. I don't know. I just always felt like I had to dress up in a costume to go to the gym or to run or something.
Oh God, what's going on? Where am I going? Dad?
Yes, my son. I am Deuce, the deer god.
I'm so confused. Who am I?
Derek. Your true name is Dercules.
Wait, what?
Yes. You are Dercules, the god of the forest. Season 5.
Hosted by your favorite podcast host, Big Bochi. You already know the deal, mother. What's up?
Hi, my name is Elizabeth McGarry. I'm the creative director for York Athletics, and this is my golden hour.
Yes, sir. And with that signifies, well, we actually already ran an episode in the space. It was kind of okay, don't look like it's that atrocious. All right. I get you're creative, but yeah, we're trying our best over here. But this is the first time a boo's been here, manning all the audio and the video.
It's legit. It's super legit.
When Elizabeth came in, for everybody listening or watching, she said, oh, it's like between two ferns. It's like Zach Galifianakis.
Which made me feel really excited.
Have you seen any of his Obama interviews?
No.
Oh, he's great.
I don't know.
He's great, man.
So good.
I wonder if he's like, he ever like gets too caught up in the character, because he's so effective at the Hangover character. Like, you ever think he goes out sometimes and's like,
I think that's pretty much him.
You don't think it's an act?
I mean, no. I mean, yes and no. He's probably bipolar like most comedians.
I know. Me and Abu were just talking about that. Like, comedians are super genius, like the really good ones, but they all have like substance abuse issues.
It's a dark side.
I know. It's probably
a coping mechanism,
I think that's probably because you understand humanity better than most people.
Yeah, you see it really clearly. It's heavy.
Yeah, like being funny is not that fun.
Being like truly funny.
Yeah, like not half
We were just
funny.
talking about that, like observational humor. I think probably a lot of those people are almost like monk-like in their ability to kind of be outside of a situation looking in and really observe.
Can you elaborate on what you think observational humor is?
Well, we were talking about Seinfeld.
Okay, yeah, genius.
And what is the show? We watch it at night sometimes. After watching something really heavy on Netflix, we'll watch like an episode of
comedians
in cars
getting
with coffee. Yeah, because it's super light and easy, and sometimes it's funny, and sometimes it's like, okay, that was fine, but just the ability. I guess he's a big meditator, so Mark and I were talking about this because
who, Jerry Seinfeld?
Yeah, which makes sense, I guess.
I feel like Larry David's a real genius.
Yeah.
Do you like Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Yes.
Genius.
I mean, yeah, I've kind of got my weird. There's something about Seinfeld that just sort of like irks me.
You don't like it?
him. I like the show Seinfeld, but that was
Yeah, I feel you.
a lot of Larry David. I don't know.
Before we move on,
Anyway.
we have the perfect blend of professional and creative in the building. And honestly, I practiced that in the mirror before that. I was like, this would be a good way to start the episode. But this is Connor Hallway. You're listening to the Golden Hours podcast, and I have Elizabeth McGarry. Did I say the last name right?
Yeah, you did.
Are you Irish?
I am so not Irish.
Okay, well, I am. So
I
is
know
that a bad
you
thing?
are.
Sorry.
No, it's just
You look
I feel like an
Irish.
imposter.
Is it?
Got the most Irish name, and I
Is it-
live in South Boston. It's all a cover.
Oh, Southie.
Southie.
Can you just kind of elaborate on who you are, what you do, and where you come from?
Yeah. Well, my name's Elizabeth McGarry, but I'm not at all Irish. I have been living in Boston for, 13 years, a little more than 13 years now, but I'm from Oregon.
Shout out to Oregon.
Shout out to Oregon. West Coast, kind of country girl.
Bumpkin.
Little bumpkin, a little bit of that.
Oregon's
More
not
like
really
red.
country,
It's more like redneck, kind of like working class.
but also like a little like Nature Valley granola bar kind of.
Yeah. You've got a lot of like gun-toting, but like environmentalists. You know,
Oregon was the first state that passed psilocybin as legal, right? Mushrooms. Oh, Colorado. No, Colorado is weed, but I think Oregon was trying to pass mushrooms first.
that doesn't surprise me.
It's like a weird like mix of people, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. I liked growing up there. We moved to Beaverton, Oregon when I was in 6th grade, so a little more like city living. That's really the
Is
verbs.
that where OSU is?
No, OSU is in Corvallis. So Beaverton's just a suburb of Portland. I grew up like a mile away from the Nike campus.
Whoa, you were spying.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Beaverton is where the Nike office is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Most known for that, for sure. But yeah, I moved. I went to design school after that in Seattle and got my degree in apparel design and moved to Belgium and had an opportunity to work over there in like this cool, I don't know, like dream place.
Fashion house kind of.
Yeah. It was like this sample house that this woman started in a converted farm, like outside of Antwerp.
Oh,
It's
so
very like
you were being rebellious.
avant-garde bohemian dreams, you know.
So you were
really
just
cool.
like, hey, I want to leave the country. I want to leave the West Coast, go to Europe type thing.
I just had an opportunity to do it. Really fortunately so, and yeah, took advantage of it and like learned more on my first day there than I felt like I learned
in a classroom.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, was that tough for you being in classroom learning how to be creative? Like, was it impossible?
No, because like art school is so not a classroom environment, you know?
Is it a lot
It's
of like
just like
experimental
it's studios, basically. You have your professors teaching you how to draft a pattern and how to sew something, and you're using your hands the whole time. And
Oh, so it was more like space kind of like this without the two ferns and the black rag in
I
the
wish
back.
there were more greens.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like I was in downtown Seattle, right on the waterfront. You know, my view was the Puget Sound, and it was a really creative space.
And so you go to school, you graduate, and then you apply for the job in Belgium?
So I actually had a job opportunity through some family friends to work for this menswear brand in Spain.
So you always knew you were going to do clothes.
Yeah, I did.
You've always been fashionable.
I don't know.
The denim dominator.
Once I decided I wasn't going to be a dolphin trainer at SeaWorld when I was like 9.
That would be pretty fire, though.
I don't know. And then I was, my parents were really supportive because in high school I was like, oh, I want to be a photojournalist, or I want to be a child psychologist, or a fashion designer.
Whoa.
My dad's
and now
like,
you're all three.
And I was like terrible at school. So I think my dad was like, do the thing that's going to make you happy. And
Are your parents entrepreneurial at all?
yeah, I would say so. They're both really creative. I don't know that they've just, I don't know, been really supportive in non-traditional career paths for all their kids, all 5 of us.
5. What? You're the youngest?
In the middle.
Whoa.
Textbook middle.
Yeah, so you're the psycho.
No, I'm the peacekeeper.
I thought the middle was always the one who felt stifled.
No, I think the oldest, and this is also true, and the youngest are like...
The chaos.
Yeah.
They demand the most attention.
I don't know. They're the ones that act out. But I was like, still kind of am the peacekeeper, a moderator, mediator.
Level head.
Most of the time.
Well, I think that's probably something you can attest to. So Elizabeth works for you. Actually, yeah. Can you just tell me your job title right now? What you do?
I'm the creative director for York Athletics.
Which is a startup.
Which is a startup.
In the beta stage?
Yeah, we're in like year 4.
Shout out to you.
Yeah.
Do you think you'd make it this far when you started?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Of course.
It's like so courageous. Startups. Honestly, I mean, this is a startup. Look around.
Yeah. It's funny. I feel like the word startup is such a new thing. You know, like everyone's
There's a connotation with it, I think.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's a startup, but what does that mean? It's like we're a new business. We're just
But you're a fresh
growing.
brand, though.
Yeah.
Like the brand is so fresh. Like the plant behind me. Big Fresh. That's
fresh
a
or
boosted
just
name.
like new and young, or yeah. Hopefully we feel fresh.
Well, I just think what you guys are doing, especially, I was pumped to hear that I was out of Boston. But I think what you guys are doing in terms of like rapping and creatives in the city, that's like so dope.
Yeah.
The Lord Felix campaign was so sick.
Yeah.
Who was that? Your
He's
choice?
like an angel too. He was introduced to us by Sam Sugarman, who does pop up the flea market events here.
Oh, cool.
At Warehouse.
Oh yeah, we're at the Warehouse level.
Sorry, I was
obligatory.
Yeah, so I had met her through this the Her Muse Collective, who did an event with Bodega, the Her by Bodega panel discussion. And anyway, just like kind of got wrapped up in that. She had him at an event that they did at the flea market, and then yeah, we needed a track. We needed a track like right now. We were doing the video edits, and I don't know, nothing.
Oh, so you didn't have the song before the video?
We didn't for our very first campaign that we did. The Worth the Fight campaign that we launched back in May. So yeah, I just was like, we need something more real than this kind of like understated little mellow track or whatever.
A little more pulse, a little more heartbeat.
Yeah. So she was like, have you checked out Lord Felix? We'd been listening to Lord Felix in the studio because our intern Sarah was friends with him, you know, and so yeah, as soon as I heard the track, I was like, yep. And she hooked us up, just like immediately connected us with his management team, and she just like an angel, was just, I don't know, it's like literally within hours we had the track all broken out into stems that we needed and all that. Was it,
so in the office, do you guys have a pulse on kind of what's going on Boston music wise, or do you like try to keep tapped into it?
We definitely have some music lovers in the studio. I think my pulse is just more on what's happening creatively in the city, like photographers and music and creators in general. But no, I don't have it. Yeah, I wish I had more time to just like.
I know you're busy.
Listen all the time.
So why do you try to tap into what's going on creatively in the city?
I mean,
like
it's like super inspiring, you know. It just kind of fuels me. It's not so much that I'm on this mission to like tap the creative community in Boston specifically. It's just like there are creative people here making stuff, and I don't think that they are being connected with the right people to like take a bigger leap or whatever it is. I think there's this cool undercurrent of creative talent here, and then there's a ton of corporate companies that go to New York for all their they like
Big Four accounting firm.
Yeah, it's just it's weird. So I guess an advantage that we have as a small brand is being the decision makers. We don't have to go through a ton of channels and
yeah, so that's one thing that when I'd started the show, there's this guy named Sean Milliken. He runs For Boston. It's a streetwear brand. And he was like, listen, this is what you don't get, man. Boston, there's like a ton of money here. But there's this big lapse in the creative community here and then the money.
Yeah.
And there isn't really a bridge.
Yep.
And so, like, I'd like to do more work with the sneaker brands. Like, you guys don't even understand. He actually had told me about York, but he was like, you don't even understand. Like, New Balance is here. Reebok has a big office here. Converse has an office here. Puma.
Yep.
And there's never really been that.
Yeah.
Until York came along. Whoa.
Yeah.
Did you notice that when you had started here?
Yeah. I mean, I don't love or really believe in the strength of like working with big influencers. I just think that there are people who have really tight, and Boston's like that. Like you have to kind of turn over the rocks.
A little clicky.
Yeah. It's a little clicky, but I think it's more of a survival tactic here as opposed to like any kind of exclusionary, sentiments. I think people are just like, oh my God, we need each other, like sticking together, trying not to let anyone else leave for greener pastures in like bigger
for New York
cities.
or LA.
Yeah. New York, LA, or London. But I get it. It's like you can only survive so long.
Well, there's just no money for creatives here,
We've worked with a photographer who literally was like, if I change my profile to NYC, I'll get jobs here. But if it says based in Boston, it's like, you'll be overlooked. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
So,
So that's pretty fire that you guys just like are consistently trying to outsource some of your work in city.
Yeah. I mean, we're so small. So basically as creative director, like I don't actually have the skill set to do all these things, but I have the eye and the vision for it. So it's really my job to like pull teams together.
You're a producer.
Yeah, basically. It's like my favorite part of the job.
Producing.
Yeah.
Is it tough for you being, again, we'll get back to the life story real quick, but is it tough for you to be like, you have your own creative vision and then you have to delegate a lot of responsibility to a team? Do you ever feel like the idea is diluted through the team, or does that just come with developing a cohesive team?
It's on me because it just means I'm not communicating something clearly.
Elizabeth's a boss, man. That's for real.
No, I mean, yeah, sometimes you delegate something out and you get it back and it doesn't look like what you had in your head. And it's like, all right, I'm not doing a good job communicating what's in my head. What are my tools for that? How does this person, like everyone needs to receive information differently. So you have to kind of change up I don't know, I probably got better at that being a mom. And like,
shout out to your kids, man.
Shout out to my kids for helping me be schizophrenic at work. Like I can put on, different hats, and then sometimes you don't have the patience for it. You're like,
I was going to say, well, because most creatives would just, I think I was talking to a boo about this last night, but I think long term, like artists right now who are in the city, I think they'd want to be in your position when they're in their mid 30s. Or in their 40s, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like the golden position. Like I would love to be the head of a creative direction of a dope brand.
yeah.
And so it's like,
But I would say that most people will say that when they're like 25.
You think so?
Oh yeah. I had an intern quit last year because she was like, I just realized I need to be doing this. That's happened with 2 people actually that I've brought on to work with. So I'm like, that's cool. I think that there's definitely an element of like kind of just a little itchy and impatient. Yeah.
That's my biggest issue, I think.
But it's also like you can do that. You're not going to be that good at it at first. Or like you might be a creative visionary and have a good eye, but learning how to communicate your vision and get everyone on the same page.
Is that just over time for you?
Yeah.
You just developed the skill set over time, kind of?
Well, like you were sort of touching on it, and this has been heavy on my mind. Like there is this really creative cast here, and many people who are on the younger side, and there are opportunities for them, but that bridge doesn't exist, and in part because like you need people around you who can elevate you or can something I learned, I think, being young and going into the corporate side of design made me a better designer, maybe, but mostly just made me more professional and learn how to speak to my ideas. And we were talking about like Nike being the master storytelling brand. I mean, that's really what's catapulted them, I think. So
I think Gatorade's done a really good job too.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of those brands, they've been around a long time, you know, and if they've been around a long time, it's because they're telling really good stories, not necessarily just because they have dope products.
Are you in that like little brother mindset with York right now? Like, we want to beat the shit out of those guys, man.
Not really. I'm not like, fuck you, Nike, because I look back fondly on my time there and still have like friends there, and
but it's good to have a mindset like that, right?
I admire a lot of what they do, but at the same time, I just know there's room for more people to play the game. You know, there's like room for another tone. I think our advantage is being small and nimble and quick and earnest in everything we do. It's like not a marketing ploy. It's just like, this is actually how we work. It wasn't like, you know what, if we work with Lord Felix, it's going to do this, that, and the other. It was just like, these guys are awesome. That track is amazing. And you're easy to work with, and you're making it like,
and I don't have
you know,
to
you're being
pass this through a structure of partners and stuff like that.
Yeah. And then like, and it builds. So like the next campaign we did that we just launched earlier in the month, like we brought him in before we shot the video, before we did the photo shoot. We walked the space together. He got a feel for it.
It was here, right?
No, that one we did at the Roger Williams Botanical Garden.
Whoa.
It was beautiful. And so yeah, he created a track for
like
us.
This.
A lot of ferns. Yeah, and he came up with something original, and we had that in mind before we started editing, which was cool because it was like, now we're editing to a track as opposed to trying to retrofit something. And
yeah, that's always a kind of a tough find.
anyway, it's just like very organic and real, and the love is real, the collaboration is real, and it's not all smoke and mirrors.
That's Peggy. She's here.
She's a force.
Yep, you can hear her. So a little rewind, because we got into the business talk real quick. I'm trying my best to boot. We're in the new space. I'm trying to provide #value for the listeners. But so you were out in Europe. Was it Antwerp?
Yeah.
Sounds exotic. And then you came back because you wanted to start getting into the sneaker companies around here. You wanted to become that CEO boss. You always knew you were. Or...
Yeah, basically. No, this is going to put a timestamp on everything. But I was in Antwerp getting ready for Paris Fashion Week when the World Trade Center was attacked. So that was really bizarre, strange time, I think, just industry-wise, personally, obviously.
Shocked the world, man.
Yeah, shocked the world. It was interesting being over there when that happened because just politically, Belgium is very neutral. No one understood how we, like in all of Europe, no one could understand how we had George W. Bush as, like, we elected George W. Bush as president. Oh my God, what's this going to lead to? And all of that. So it was interesting. And also, like, everything changed. Like, no one was hiring. No one was
the whole world
buying.
Just kinda,
You know, like going into Paris Fashion Week with these designers, we'd been working so hard. And, you know, there was a lot of trepidation about the economy. And all of a sudden, everything felt really frivolous and irresponsible, and I don't know, it was an interesting early, you know, I was in an early stage of my career to kind of be exposed to that level of like how global politics and world events can impact fashion,
and how much leverage the US's decisions have on the rest of the world, right?
Yeah. And I'd been in the Middle East earlier that same year, so it was also just interesting having a little more of my own firsthand knowledge in terms of like our involvement in other places. But I sort of lived out the season, did Paris Fashion Week.
What was that like? Wild?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, it was special. I think it's maybe with one of the main reasons why I was super hireable when I got back to Portland, Oregon, was that I had,
You were at the week.
I had my fashion degree, but I also had this really unique experience, which is always my
And that's kind of
hashtag value for your
Hashtag
listeners.
value.
Like, do things that are going to set you apart from every other
and that's
candidate for a job.
That's like winning a Grammy, kind of, right, in fashion, like being part of Paris Fashion Week.
Yeah. I mean, it's just for being,
I don't know,
20.
man. You see my swag? I got mermaid socks on.
I don't like those socks.
We
Sock
should do a
game's
denim
strong.
episode. That'd be great.
Yeah?
I would love to.
Socks and denim?
No, I'm just saying after this, you rubbed off on me. Maybe I'll just wear denim for every episode. The denim dominators, man.
I got that.
You got that swag.
Canadian tuxedo. I had
Do
to dress up for you.
I was going to say, do your kids know your swag?
My older son is learning that now, I think.
My mom's a boss.
It's only because his friends are like,
You got the cool mom.
your mom's pants are so cool. So
How
finally,
old is he?
He's 16.
Whoa.
Yeah. So he actually will take my, advice now.
Does he go to school in Southie?
No, he goes to school in Roxbury.
Whoa. Roxbury Latin?
He's at the OB, the School for Math and Science, O'Brien.
Oh, the OB. Mm-hmm. So you got some genius kids.
Yeah, he's a smart boy.
Your kid's the next Jeff Bezos, probably.
He works at AFH, which is Artists for Humanity.
Oh, so you got a bunch of artists in the
so
family?
he's really creative. He just happens to be really good at math and
the super kid. You got to hire him.
He actually helped me with that colorway that you were asking me about. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
What are the name of those shoes?
That's the Frank by Ali Raisman,
I got the...
which we'll get into, I'm sure.
I have the Henry Bones on. Mm-hmm. Love them.
Yeah, those are one of my favorites too.
Do they get confused with the Hirachis sometimes? Not to corner you.
I don't know. No, it's funny. I find myself more and more like when I'm in traffic, I'm doing double takes. I'm like, is that person wearing our shoes? Which is not at all what was going on when we first launched. We haven't changed up our shoe. We designed a really minimal, kind of perfect sneaker that doesn't need a lot of fucking with,
And the way I feel in these is like, I could wear these to an interview, be totally relaxed. And I could also, if I wanted to, if I'm like going out with a shorty, I could wear these too and be fine.
Yeah, they're very versatile.
Yeah, and you could even wear these in the gym. I'm just
They're
doing some marketing
built for the
you.
gym.
Yeah.
No, they are built for running and for cross training.
And for feeling like,
But
damn, I am a young professional.
The idea that you could have a minimal sneaker that works well and is comfortable was like not happening when we first launched the brand. And we know that firsthand because at all the big companies you have performance and you have lifestyle, and they like aren't allowed to infringe on each other's territory. And Mark being at Puma and I was at Reebok at the time when we both left and started to get into this world.
You guys were just taking blueprints.
We're like, that's ridiculous.
I agree.
No, we weren't taking blueprints. We just knew that that's messed up. And I started freelancing and I was getting hired more and more on the apparel design side to like design performance clothing that didn't look like performance clothing. Like we wanted to look like streetwear. We wanted to look like, more fashion forward, but it should work.
I feel like the build of these sneakers are similar to, like the build, not the look, to a Yeezy. Did this all kind of come in the same wave? Or
we launched before Yeezy.
Okay.
But you know what? I think what I will confidently say, and I just know this because of all of our friends in the industry.
I don't mean to disrespect you at all.
No, you shouldn't. I'll take it as an opportunity to say I think a lot of people actually paid attention to York when we launched. Like we launched, Bodega carried our sneakers, Hypebeast wrote about us. We launched in this space in this time when this just wasn't really happening. And very soon after that, like
they were spying on you.
Logos stopped dropping off the side of things. I mean, a huge catalyst in like how we got funding in the brand even was we're like, look at the market. This is messed up. Like you cannot buy a performance sneaker without 3 bold stripes on the side or a giant swoosh. Like the branding and the logo is always popping off. Like like that's
I feel you.
the key, element. We're like, we just want it to be sophisticated, minimal, understated. Like every other aspect of my life and my wardrobe is like that, but I cannot find gym sneakers. So the fact that they're crossing over for people now is like, because that's all people were wearing for lifestyle. And then they were literally have to take those shoes off and put on something ugly and like uncomfortable. I don't know. I just always felt like I had to dress up in a costume to go to the gym or to run or something.
And they're affordable. It's not like these are like ridiculously expensive.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like them to be more affordable, to be honest. But
You think 140 is too expensive?
I don't know. I just think it'd be cool if everyone could wear them.
That global marketing strategy.
Yeah, I don't know. Like we pay a lot for our shoes to be made because we don't want to sacrifice on the quality. They last a long time. They can be beat up. Mm-hmm. There's some other brands out there right now that like make a similar looking shoe, but they don't last for very long.
Yeah. So when you guys started the brand, was your main focus like, hey, listen, this is going to be mad tough, but we're just going to make sure we focus on creating the best possible product? Was that kind of the mission initially?
Yeah, we knew we could make a product that looked unlike anything else going on in the market. Like if everything was neon and big logos, then we can make something that's like black and cream and no logos.
That vanilla ice cream. Yes, sir.
And if all performance products are targeting, premier athletes and gym rats, like we can show this other side. Like there are artists and chefs and musicians who like also value their health and well-being, and can't we just be a brand for like our people?
Yeah, it's so true.
So that's really what we started and how we raised money and gained support with people who were totally seeing the opportunity for that white space.
And when you guys were entering the space, was it like, okay, we already have a good gauge on what's going on in the market just because of our experience type thing? Mm-hmm. Or how did you initially get the product idea out? Did you build a prototype?
Yeah, we had one of our we had a couple of our, it's like also the benefit of having some experience in the industry. You get to draw on your friends.
Your network.
Who are super talented and like also at similar life stages where they're like, why am I doing this for someone else now? So Eric Thomas, who helped us on like the whole brand identity and creative and packaging, and really worked with us on the initial product design concepts. And then our friend Mike Kirtley, who at the time had just left as the head of innovation at Reebok, the like innovation director, and he's a footwear designer. He really worked with us on like, how do we make the most minimal but super functional, like treat it like utility, which is usually like the perfect design sneaker. So he worked with us. We knew we wanted it to be unisex. We didn't want to make different products for men and women. We didn't want to market differently to men and women. Everything from like the last shape, which is all footwear gets drafted off of this. Like last shape, we made a custom last with the greatest last makers in the world, just happened to be outside of Boston, Massachusetts. Everything was custom from the ground up,
What is the last shape?
Have you ever seen like a foot mold? Some like the old ones would be wooden. You'll see them in like antique stores.
You talking about like that,
right?
Like you show up to CVS, like Dr. Scholl's type thing?
No, it just like looks like a foot, like a mannequin.
Okay.
But a foot.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Like a gel that's hardened.
No.
I'm not a doctor. Just a podcast.
Not Dr. Scholl's gel inserts. That's not what we're talking about. There's a saying in the industry, the last comes first. And it's literally like, I don't know. Google it. Footwear last.
Okay.
I don't tote one around. They're kind of heavy, but it's just like the shape in which your shoe is drafted off of.
And it's called, what was it called?
A last.
L-A-S-T. Mm-hmm. Like this is the last phase before we build the shoe.
Yeah.
Just give it to me. Okay,
Yeah.
Sure.
The last comes first.
And so why did you guys choose Boston to camp out?
We live here.
You were already living here?
Yeah. And I mean, Boston, Mark's family's in Boston, my family's in Portland, Oregon, and both of those towns are like shoe towns. So we kind of knew we'd always be in one place or the other.
And you didn't want to go with that big market? Too oversaturated?
No, I mean, it's really important, I think, when it's probably for the same reason a lot of creatives leave Boston. It's like you go to New York or LA because there's a creative infrastructure there.
Facts.
You know, and like if you're launching a fashion brand, like a women's ready-to-wear brand, you might want to go to New York because there's a garment district and you can buy fabric and buttons and find pattern makers. So it's for all those reasons, it's really beneficial to be in Boston launching a performance sneaker brand because you have a lot of talented, experienced people.
And you weren't worried at the start, like, wait, there are all these big companies here. How are we going to find our niche? You just knew that there was an open space in the market.
No, because we worked for all those companies and we're like...
You had the blueprints, man. You were robbing them.
We just like, a lot of the times it's like, what don't we want to do? You know, we don't want to structure ourselves this way. We don't want to draw these lines between performance and lifestyle. We don't want to have an HR department.
Yeah.
I think it's not intimidating. It's, if anything, it's like, keep your enemies. What's it? Keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. I don't know. They're not my enemies, but you know what I mean?
You should,
like
I got some
keeping
spies.
tabs.
Yeah, I like that.
Keeping tabs on things. But I've also, I don't know. Yeah. It's not intimidating. And Boston's got cool energy too. I think you've got that like polished financial district kind of like
seaport.
money side of Boston. And then you've got the really gritty, just like work hard,
The
camp
podcast
salt
in the
of the
warehouse,
earth,
yeah,
kind of people and energy and vibes. So I think that underdog kind of fighting spirit that we really have embodied from the beginning, people gravitate towards that because they're like, yeah, I'm not like shiny and flashy. These are my people.
It's my dog. Hey, thanks for coming today. So you've had mad experience in like doing tons of stuff. Again, I'm just trying to talk for the people out there.
Yeah.
And like, you're successful. What skills have you had to acquire over time that have allowed you to be in the position you're in that didn't necessarily come naturally to you?
Oof.
How was that for a question?
That's so loaded. No.
So I'm saying, what do you suck at that you got good at?
I sucked at presenting my ideas.
With confidence?
Yeah. Like without just being terrified and, wanting to throw up or whatever.
Of ridicule.
Yeah. Just the idea of, I still hate public speaking. This is like a little more
You're doing great.
easy. But I learned early on, especially at Nike, you could be a really talented designer, but if you cannot sell your ideas and get people on board, which is 100% about like how confidently you can communicate, how confidently and clearly you can communicate, then it won't matter. You'll just get bulldozed by like the biggest person in the room.
The big ego.
Yeah. So they put a lot of emphasis on that, and like in terms of just career development, I took like, the art of storytelling and public speaking kind of classes that they offered there on campus, and slowly got more and more comfortable with that part of the job. And I don't necessarily think that really creative, artistic people should have to be good at selling their ideas, but if they're not, they need a partner who is. So I've kind of been able to like bring that into when I was at Reebok, I think just being a champion for my younger designers, like.
Well, yeah, because creatives, I don't know if I think this is kind of just a misconception, but the truly creative people are usually the most introverted. Like that's what people will say.
Yeah. It can often be that way, yeah. But like if you're working for a company or you have investors, and you're not just like a fine artist in a studio, then you kind of need to know how to communicate.
You got to sell.
Yeah, you got to sell. Whatever you want to call it. I mean, you have to give other people confidence that your ideas are smart and relevant.
And get people excited about it.
Yeah. So when I started consulting after I left Reebok in 2009.
That was Megerian Sons, right?
Yeah.
I did my research. Come on.
Yeah. So Megerian Sons is really, still this kind of like non-agency collaborative resource for especially new ventures or brands that want to experiment and explore new ideas. Like our thing was always we had a little core team that grew and built over the time, and I had like a superstar designer who was really uncomfortable with presenting, and she learned that the more confident that she was, because behind closed doors, like I would always be like, what do you think it should be? Like Heather, she's fucking rad and totally knows what's up,
but she was just getting nervous in front of a crowd.
Yeah. It's just sort of like, how do I articulate this in a way that's going to make you guys see that this is right?
And throw some money at it.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah. But she's there now. She's like, owns
Nice.
it. And everyone, it's like, whatever you say, you're the boss.
So a little bit back to you being totally successful, being a boss. So do you think people in the creative space should focus on their strengths over time? Or do you think you should kind of outsource?
For sure.
Focus on your strength and outsource your weaknesses, hire around your weaknesses?
Yeah, just be trusting enough to like let your guard down and say like, this is not what I'm good at, which I think is sort of maybe a generationally hard thing to do. I think there's sort of this perception that you have to be really good at everything. And that's not true. So I think, like why wouldn't you focus on your strengths?
What if you want to be good at everything?
Don't try to do that. Be like really good at something. And then,
So are you like really good at design? Or are you like really good at producing? Or are you just a boss at both?
I think I'm a better producer and editor than I am a designer.
Editor via just all like
just sort of like being
audio.
able to see the bigger picture and the context and like pinpointing what's right about something, what's wrong about something, and making the right suggestions to strengthen it.
Are you a quick decision maker or do you mull over decisions?
It totally depends. That's an area that I'm trying to get better at.
Being more decisive.
Mm-hmm. I think I've grown a lot in that this year, getting out of consulting and more into like this fast-paced startup, thing. You just have to like make a decision and go, and it might not be the perfect decision, but you'll learn from it, and then you just keep iterating. I'm less precious about every little thing now.
Yeah, was micromanaging ever an issue for you?
Yeah.
I could imagine because brand's like your baby, so
yeah,
it's like your fourth baby. Well, you have 3 kids.
I think micromanaging comes from like not trusting the process, like not trusting the people around you.
That was profound.
I don't know if it was, but I have learned to let certain things go. Like I certainly had a lot of opportunities to make mistakes and be humiliated by those mistakes and have to recover for them. And like you have to work, twice as hard to make up for that lost time, but you learn from it.
What was a bad one?
A bad mistake?
Yeah, like a big L. Like was there a Paris Fashion Week where you just like messed up someone's wardrobe and like your boss was like, "You're fired. It's over."
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I'm going to have to come back to that one. I've had plenty of them.
There's no mistakes in life, man. There's only lessons. Who said that?
Every
Jay-Z.
smart person.
Every successful person.
Every successful person, yeah.
When you had started this, I don't even mean to skewer you, but when you had started the company with your husband, we were like, yo, we're like going to be on top of each other all the time.
Yeah, no. So when we started York with the York brothers, we were running Megerian Sons together, and we knew that both of us couldn't do that, like financially. It just wouldn't be smart. So Mark joined York as the CEO and a co-founder, and I stayed on as a creative director, but I also had all my other clients. So I continued to build Megerian Sons alongside York building. and just what's kind of like moonlighting. I'd come in to direct a photo shoot, pick the assets after the photo shoot, and then kind of be out. And last year, we were kind of like, oh, the brand's growing. Like Megerian Sons is kind of plateauing, and that I'm going to need a business partner to keep it growing because we're sort of at max capacity. So we decided to wind down Megerian Sons and that I would come join York full time.
So did you guys like set boundaries? Like, yo, listen, we love each other, but this is also business.
Yeah, it's really hard. And I mean, I've seen this over and over again with other co-founders. If you're good friends or you're married or you're a couple or it's like siblings or whatever, it's really hard to start a business with someone who you love outside of the business. And so we've done a lot of reading and research on like how to make that a successful thing.
Dude, I can only imagine.
And just our own gut checks. I mean, we try not to bring, number one rule is like, don't bring the day home with us.
Yeah, but that's impossible.
It's impossible, but it takes a lot of like Zen training, mind training.
I feel like there's just a lot bouncing around your head all the time.
Yeah. So, I mean, it helps that we have our boys at home and we're kind of like weekend warriors. We try to get out a lot and experience things together and just sort of like just know there's a difference between like your job and your life work.
But it's tough when you're building your own brand though and your company. It's like, it doesn't really ever leave your mind, does it?
No, I think it's probably a common trait with creatives in general is like you're constantly absorbing everything going on around you. Like I'm always taking pictures. I'm always thinking of whether it's like color or texture or I like how that looked. I'm just like always researching. There's never really like a pause of where I'm turning my brain off from inspiration. And so my family's learned to accept that about me, that it's not like I'm thinking about work stress. It's really fueling for me, where it's I think different if your brain's not wired that way. But
at a certain point you must be somewhat obsessive, right?
Yeah,
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Do you hate it?
Like nothing's ever perfect to me. Like nothing's ever right. So
you're one of those.
Yeah, but I've learned not to be mad about it. You know, to me it's just sort of like, okay, that lesson learned. You know, like that campaign didn't come out how I wanted. Like, why? What went into that? And just being more action oriented instead of like being pissy about it.
I have a few questions I got to ask.
Okay.
People were asking me. I know you got to get out of here soon. You're busy. You're busy. It's business.
Busy business.
Okay. You having fun?
I am.
Cool. We're doing a good job, Boo. Oh, I already asked you about your office being under 35 for the most part. The streetwear brand. Oh, yeah. Can you kind of talk about why you don't take venture capital, just real briefly? So for a little LinkedIn content.
LinkedIn content. I think that maintaining control of the trajectory of the brand has been really important. We're definitely playing a long game in terms of, you know, we don't just want to be a flash in the pan. And I think you are seeing that a lot with these hugely VC-backed brands.
That go big on Instagram for a couple of years and then...
Yeah, like I don't think Instagram brands are going to be brands for much longer because Instagram's changing constantly. Like the rules of engagement digitally are changing. So my eye is really on how to build a brand that people have loyalty to, feel emotionally connected to, like drumming up that grassroots kind of word of mouth following in business and being in the real world.
So you focus on relationships?
I don't think that very many VC companies are like into that. They want to see a quick turn on their investment, you know?
Sorry, I cut you off. My fault.
That's all right. I wasn't listening. What'd you say?
So you think just that's never enticing for you though? Like, yo, we could make so much extra money right now and just pour it all back into the business.
Yeah, of course.
I'm
tempting. Sure. You're just like constant. I think you should probably have Mark on the show sometime and talk to him because he's
Tell
got
him
a
a
whole,
good guy.
Like I will. I think, 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 I think I try not to get too bogged down on that side of it. That's one of those areas where it's like you have
Leave
your
the
lane.
finance to him.
Like I've got mine. I know what my budget is. I'm using it as wisely as I can. But I generally agree. I've consulted with early stage startups that had VC funding versus those that haven't, and the vibe's pretty different. The amount of pressure is a different kind of pressure.
Yeah.
There's always someone on the chopping block. I feel like every VC brand that I've had a peek into has got like really high turnover, for example, with their employees. I'm like, what's that about? We haven't, like we have a really good core team and everyone's been there sort of pretty much since the beginning, and there's something to be said for that.
Okay. That was a good answer for you. I got like 2 more. Whoa. I asked most of them. Good for me. Okay, so real quick, in terms of what you guys have coming up, you want to do a little marketing, a little promo?
Yeah, well, if you haven't seen it yet, we've got our model, the Frank, which is an award-winning cross-training shoe.
Here we go. Marketing mode. Here we go.
It's true. Snagging up awards. We did 2 exclusive colorways with Allie Raisman, who's
Boss.
a boss, just a total fire starter, also Boston girl. And those are out now. We've got some new products dropping later in September that are like super, like the shoe you're wearing, the Henry. We did some fun, fresh fall colors and a water repellent material. So that's going to be really fun. The campaign was pretty dope. We shot it in Chinatown with a couple of badasses from Boston.
Nice.
Yeah. And yeah, I think we're looking into doing like a cool retail activation potentially in New York later in the year, which will be really fun.
Don't leave us.
I know, just a little pop-up, just a little in and out. New York is actually our number 1 market right now. So it'd be good to show up, and be there physically.
Wow.
Yeah.
Number 1 market via storefront?
Just sales. Yeah. Like Boston's been our number 1 market until recently, which is awesome. But it's also like, it's good to see that we're gaining some kind of
growing,
foothold outside of our home turf.
I'll do a little vouching for the shoe. I love the shoe. It makes me feel professional. I got them because I was the center of attention for the mass cast. And so I said, shout out to York. It made me feel like a boss. It was great.
Nice. I appreciate your support.
Hey, man. I'm a fan of the brand. I hope you're a fan of the show.
I am.
Okay, so this is how we start and end the episode.
Okay.
You say hi.
Hi.
1 second. Don't jump the gun. Hi. I'm blank, your name, and this is my golden hour. Directly after no break. Hi, I'm blank, and that was my golden hour. Does that make sense? So you're going to say, listen, usually I don't even elaborate on this. You're going to say, hi, I'm Elizabeth McGarry from York Athletics, the young CEO boss. You already know the deal, and this is my golden hour.
You just threw in a bunch of more details.
Well, you're creative. I thought you put the sauce on it. You put the York sauce on it. Then directly after, hi, I'm Elizabeth McGarry.
I'm also an introvert. Yeah. Okay.
That's what you said on the phone, but you were wildly profound this entire episode, and I understood everything you said. You did a great job.
I'm going to need a nap after this.
I'm going to need another espresso shot after this. Whoa.
All right, so
this is my golden hour.
This is my golden hour, and that was my golden hour.
You got it. Abu, which camera would you like us on?
Do that one.
Oh, I'm looking at the camera too.
It's between 2 ferns.
Can I hold a fern? I need a prop.
Something. Oh, we're going to have you sign the table, and I got you some new shirts. You're probably going to rip apart the quality. It's not Gildan, though.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
I'm not going to rip apart the quality. I'm just going to rip it apart because that's kind of what I do with
cool.
T-shirts, Okay.
Whenever you're ready. You're going to look at this one. I'm going to look at this one. Or maybe
I'm sorry.
I'll swing this way.
I'm saying, hi, my name is Elizabeth McGarry. I'm the creative director for York Athletics, and this is my golden hour.
Yes, sir.
And hi. Hi, this is Elizabeth McGarry, creative director of York Athletics. That was my golden hour.
Perfectly executed.